So the live series collection is like the biggest thing in MLB The Show Diamond Dynasty to accomplish in the beginning of the year before we have like these big collections or like seasonal collections. But anyway, it is my main goal right now. It should be everyone's main goal to get this Babe Ruth. He's the best card in the game that you can get today. But there are certain collection rewards that you get on your way, and some are better than others. Some are more expensive than others. So today I'm going to be putting all the collection rewards on a tier list in this video, including those three guys that you see on your screen. So let's get into it. Starting off with the D tier, we have Andre Dawson, Dontrell Willis, Ian Kinsler, Matt Holliday, Mike Cameron, Ryan Braun, Ryan Ludwig. We have Tim Raines, Tony Oliva. Is that how you say his name? I don't know if I said that right. And then we have Vinny Castilla. So the first card in the D tier is Andre Dawson for the Red Sox. You know, all he really brings to the table is high contact left, vision, and clutch. Defense is okay, speed is okay, but this card really just doesn't do much. This Dontrell Willis card is a nice lefty starter, four-seam slider change, cutter curve. But I mean, his control and break is good, but his per nines are not good at 70 and 70, and pitching clutch only at 80. It does not save that. From the Detroit Tigers, we have Ian Kinsler. I mean, what does this card do? Like 76, 80 contact, 47, 46 power is terrible. 33 discipline is god awful. 96 clutch is like his only good stat, and his vision. I mean, basically the same as Andre Dawson. Not only is this card just not good, all he can do is hit for contact right and clutch, but he's also insanely bald in this card art. But jokes aside, another one of these guys that barely does anything for you. I think this might be by far the worst collection reward I've ever seen in my life. Mike Cameron, his highest rated stat is speed at 83, and then 81 clutch, and then 81 steal, but then after that, like 80 fielding. Hitting wise, his highest stat is an 81. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a worse collection reward. This Ryan Braun card is pretty much identical to the Matt Holliday, except he has like lower clutch, bad defense, only has contact right, not much to say. This Ryan Ludwig is kind of similar to all these other guys who have been only good at one thing, except he actually has good power instead of contact. Power left being 96, everything else being pretty bad. Very bad defense too. Oh my god, the noodle bat on Tim Raines. This man has absolutely zero pop and 2935 power. I don't care. Like, I cannot use a card with those power numbers. Obviously, insane speed and stealing. You could throw him on your bench and literally only use him to steal bases. But that's really all he can do. I mean, he has okay contact left and clutch. I think it's Tony Oliva, whatever, new legend. He's a Hall of Famer, great career, but this card, not that good. Another one of these hitters who's only good at like two things, being contact right and vision. And then lastly, in the D tier, we have Vinny Castilla. Yet again, I sound like a broken record. The only thing he's good at really is power versus right. 79 power left, man. I mean, clutch is bad, defense is terrible. Moving to the C tier, we have Cal Ripken Jr., we have Carlos Pena, Cliff Lee, Fergie Jenkins, Grady Sizemore, Mark McGuire, Ralph Kiner. We have Raul Ibanez, Roy Halladay, and Steve Finley. To start the C tier, we have a diamond, finally. We don't have any diamonds in the D tier, but we have a diamond in the C tier. We have a couple. This Cal Ripken Jr., you know, solid contact, 95-90 with 85 vision and 88 clutch. Good defense as well, but nothing really too spectacular with this card. Now, this is a very good gold card, 101, 88 power for this Carlos Pena with 107 discipline. The contact versus left is terrible, but contact right is serviceable right now. Not a bad gold card. Here's another diamond in the C tier. We have Cliff Lee for the Mariners. Very good pitch mix. Cliff Lee always has sinker, circle, change, knuckle curve, cutter, slider. Control is pretty good, break is pretty good, but I mean the velo is pretty bad, and the per nines are really bad, and the clutch is really bad. Next, we have Fergie Jenkins, who's a 90 overall, but yet he's in the C tier because his per nines are so low, and his pitching clutch is so low, and his velocity is so low. I mean, the control is pretty good, and the break is pretty good as well. But, I mean, yeah, this is like one of the worst 90 overalls I've ever seen in my life. And like I said in my last tier list video that I posted earlier for the Team Affinity cards, just, if you're new here, stick with me. I'm going to start not complaining about cards. It's just these cards aren't good, so I have to explain why. Grady Sizemore, another diamond in the C tier. The difference between this card and cards in the D tier with like having like one or two good stats is that he actually has good defense and speed, so that gives him a little bonus into the C tier. This Mark McGuire card is like borderline D tier. The only reason I put him in C tier is because he is insane clutch, and he's like okay with those three stats outside of the power lefty. He's a good bat defensively, just terrible. But I like him a little more than those other guys in the D tier. Ralph Kiner at least excites me in multiple stats. Contact right, power right, vision is okay, discipline and clutch is good. So for that, they'll go above the guys in D tier, but just god awful defense. Another diamond in the C tier, Raul Ibanez from the Kansas City Royals, 89-84 versus righties with 90 clutch and 85 vision. This is kind of similar to what I said with Ralph Kiner, except a little bit better of a card because he's a diamond. But you know the defense is bad too on this card. But C tier I think is very logical. Now, Roy Halladay cards, their higher overalls are typically good because he has a gross pitch mix and good enough velo. I mean, cutter, sinker, curve, splitter, four seam with that control, that break, and that velo. The velo isn't insane, but it's like better than a lot of other cards. That alone will keep him out of D tier. Maybe you could convince me to put him in B, but those per nines are just so low for me to put him in B. It's 75 and 63. Steve Finley of the Padres. We always get low overall diamond Steve Finley's, and they always have like his swing is butter, but I can't put him above C with these attributes. I mean, good contact, right, and vision, good defense and speed too, which puts him ahead of D tier. But looking forward to a better overall Steve Finley. Moving on to the B tier, we have Bernie Williams, Craig Kimbrell, Curtis Granderson, Joe Nathan, John Kruk, new legend, Lee Smith, Nolan Ryan, Roy Oswalt, and Troy Gloss. Starting out the B tier, we have the Yankees collection, Bernie Williams. I'm so excited that this is the collection reward. I mean, it's a pretty good card. You would hope for higher power, but it's good enough at this stage in the game. 92, 104 contact, 101 power, or clutch. He's gold defensively, and he has good speed, and he's a switch hitter. He's miles ahead of the guys below him. I just wish that they didn't screw over this card with the pitch mix. If he had a slider, like if they just gave him a slider, he would probably be A tier. Like you can't put him in the same tier as Babe Ruth, but he would be A tier. I mean, the per nines are very good. Pitch and clutch is very good for this stage. Velocity is very good. The control and the break is very good. It's just the pitch mix isn't amazing, which is so annoying. Like the stats alone will get him into B, but I'm probably not going to use him that much because his pitch mix isn't good. Here we have Curtis Granderson, who is very good against righties and not very good against lefties. 99, 96, 91, 84. Those all pop out with good defense and speed. The defense and speed is what puts him ahead of like a Ralph Kiner, who has similar stats. But Granderson is B tier for me. These gold relievers in the collection awards are surprisingly good. Joe Nathan for the Giants. Four-seam slider, curve, change, cutter. Good mix. Good speed differentials. Solid control. Good break. Throws hard enough at like 95. And he has good per nines, 101, 89, and 94 pitching clutch. Like, this is a very, very good gold reliever. So I'm throwing him in the B tier. John Kruk from the Phillies, new legend, first base, can play the entire outfield. Not good defensively, though, but he'll have okay speed. The hitting-wise, pretty solid, 95, 101, 81. The power versus lefties is low. The clutch is okay. Overall, I would say this is B tier. Here's another really good gold reliever. We've seen this Lee Smith in previous years. People use him all the time earlier in the year, and I'm happy he's back. Four-seam slider, cutter, curve. Does he have outlier? No, he doesn't, but he still throws 98. The control is not good. The break is okay. Like, obviously, that's a weak spot. But 95, 97 per nines with 93 pitching clutch. I mean, like, this is a very good gold card, and you're only collecting golds. This is B tier for sure. This is basically the same situation as Craig Kimbrell. Nolan Ryan cards aren't ever really too good because of his pitch mix. Obviously throws gas, obviously has outlier, but the pitch mix just hurts him a lot. Four-seam curve, change, sinker. Control is also obviously always really bad with Nolan Ryan. And the break is pretty good. Per nine solid, 97, 93 with 100 pitching clutch. Man, I just wish that Nolan Ryan threw like a cutter or a slider. This Roy Oswalt is just a very balanced starting pitcher. Four-seam sinker, 12-6 slider change. Good pitch mix, the control is good, the break is good, the attributes are overall just super B tier. Like, all these attributes just scream B tier, which isn't a bad thing. Like, solid per nines and clutch. The control and the break were both pretty good. And then lastly, we have Troy Gloss, and now I'm looking back on it, maybe a little skeptical to put him into B tier. But he's got the power at 92, 99, and the discipline at 91. The clutch and the contact are low, the defense are not that good. But Troy Glaus, I always love his swing, and his power is very good. Moving to the A tier, we have Mike Piazza, we have Pedro Martinez, and we have Rafael Palmeiro. The only team collection to be in the A tier or above is Mike Piazza of the Dodgers, and of course it's the hardest collection. Catcher, 109, 110 contact, 89, 79 power with 114 clutch. This is a very good hitting card. Defense, you would wish to be a little better, but this is just by far the best collection reward out of all 30 teams. This Pedro Martinez is a very solid card. He's obviously going to be an A tier, so is Palmeiro, which I'll get to next. But four-seam, circle change, cutter, slider, curve, great pitch mix, great speed differentials, outlier on the four-seam. Control is good, break is really good. Per nines are good, pitching clutch is pretty good. Like, this is a great starter right now. And then, like I said, this Rafael Palmeiro card, very good. 104, 105 power, 83, 82 contact with 90 clutch. Great discipline too, and good vision. Fielding, you would hope to be a little better, but it's fine. I mean, this card mashes. And then lastly, the man in his own tier. I mean, it's so obvious. 99 overall Babe Ruth. And then lastly, in the tier of his own, I mean, you can't put anyone in the same tier as this Babe Ruth card. 99 overall. Two-way Babe Ruth, four-seam curveball, sinker, changeup, slider. So solid pitch mix. They couldn't really do anything because not many of the pitches that are like meta in the game existed when he was playing. But, you know, they did the best they could. Control, pretty good. Break, very good. Velocity's good. He's throwing 97. The per nines, 96, 90, which is good. Pitching clutch at 92, which is good. But it's really the hitting which you're going to use this card. I have a feeling that this is not going to be in my rotation near the end of seasons, only in the beginning of seasons. But he's going to be in my lineup the entire year. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, this is the typical Babe Ruth card. Maxed out everything across the board except vision. Yeah, this Babe Ruth card is as advertised. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys use my tier list to decide which collections you go for first. Yeah, so if you're new here, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And most importantly, make sure to subscribe right here on YouTube. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.